Hello guys and good day everyone. My name is Suspi Anwar and I will be recording our very first meetings that will talk about what is Model United Nations. What makes this meeting is very important is that the foundations of the understanding and also the comprehension with the United Nations itself. It includes about our understanding in regards of each council or each committees in the UN, and we will talk about several of the procedures on how MUN will going to work later on. Now, starting with the very first slide, modeling notations is a simulation of the UN committee proceedings. That means we will be assigned as a certain diplomat of a certain country, and we will try to represent our country's interests. Remember, our country's interests that will talk about a certain international issue in a certain council. That means we need to specify all of these things first. We need to identify what country are we going to represent right now. How is the foreign policies of our country? And please bear in mind once again, in Model United Nations, we are representing a bigger entities, which means we are representing a country, not an individual like we are going to do in the debating competitions in general. Now, please focus on the terms of UN committee proceedings. Wait a minute. On the UN committee proceedings. These kinds of proceedings will include of the mandate of the council. That means when I talk about the UN committee's proceedings, it means that every UN entities, each of them might have a different kinds of procedure or some kind of a power on how they could resolve a certain international issue. And as I have already explained in our very first meeting, what makes MUN then different with debating and also speech competition is that um, we in MUN combining both debating and also speech kind of competitions. What do I mean by that? We need sorry we must have the ability to be able to frame our own country. Remember, framing, we need to frame our own country so that our public image as a country will not being degraded by that international issue or by the other countries. So uh, it also includes the meaning of when you are representing a country, please refrain from using a personal opinion, because once again you are representing a bigger entities. When you are representing a country, that means you are representing the government, the ministries, the agencies, and also the governmental bodies, including the citizens of those states. And that's why it takes a lot of effort to understand the characteristics of your country, especially in regards of foreign policy. And when I said that we are also combining from the debating competition, is that we need to debate with the other delegates, with the other diplomats, which solution that could be better, which solution that could be better to be used to actually resolve the problem. And that's why um, we need to use our we need to enhance our train of thoughts, and also we need to give a certain rationalization so that the other delegates and also the chair or the judges could understand and also could be convinced that our solution is better than the other delegate and actually is really feasible. Feasible itu adalah layak, btw. And with that being said, when we are participating in the MUN, all of those things in regards of personal opinions and also any kinds of data that is not related towards the issue, please do not bring that into Model United Nations. Please focus solely on your country's interests, your country's solutions, and the power of the council. Jadi tolong fokuslah ke bagaimana foreign policy kalian nantinya, karakteristik negara kalian, solusi yang kalian bawa sesuai dengan negara kalian, dan kemudian nantinya dengan mandat atau kekuatan dari council tersebut untuk menyelesaikan masalah tersebut. That would be all. And we will go with the second slide. Alright. In the Model United Nations, we have a thing that we call as council or committee. As I have already said beforehand, a council or committees would be related to the UN entities. Meaning, a council could be also referred as an international organization, because when we are talking about council, that means we are talking about a specific UN committees under the UN itself. So, just a little bit of additional notes. United Nations consisting of a lot of main bodies, subsidiary bodies, or also subsidiary agencies. Jadi maksudnya adalah PBB itu nggak cuma hanya satu gitu loh. Ada cabang-cabang lainnya. There are branches of the United Nations that could talk about a certain topic in that council. Ada council-council khusus yang akan membahas suatu isu tertentu di mana council tersebut memiliki wewenang atau memiliki kekuatan untuk menyelesaikan permasalahan tersebut. Maka oleh karena itu, and with that being said, there are a lot of United Nations entities that we are going to talk about. Just one example, when we are talking about human rights in the international community, there is United Nations Human Rights Council. If you are talking about the rights of women, there is UN Women. If we are talking about the peace and international security, we have the United Nations Security Council. Jadi masing-masing dewan PBB ini memiliki tugas pokok dan fungsinya masing-masing. Ya, kayak tadi Dewan HAM PBB berarti akan mengurusi terkait monitoring terhadap implementasi akan hak asasi manusia di setiap negara misalkan. Dan untuk Dewan Keamanan PBB akan berfokuskan kepada international security and peace, terkait keamanan internasional, seperti itu. In MUN, the chair atau pemimpin sidang, the judges, will provide you with the study guide. This kind of study guide will help you for your research and also for your further preparations. Jadi study guide ini adalah namanya juga study guide, berarti itu adalah pedoman untuk apa aja sih yang nantinya akan kalian riset atau kalian siapkan terkait topik tersebut. When we are talking about study guides, that means the chair will provide you with a brief explanation in regards of the background of the problem, history of the problems, points of contentions or areas of debate, past international action, the introduction to the council, and also block positions. With all of these things, with all of these basic things, it hopefully it could enlighten you as a delegates to know what are the things that needs to be prioritized first. Jadi dengan adanya pedoman ini, semacam ada kisi-kisinya terkait isu yang akan kita bahas nanti, kalian itu sebagai delegates bakalan tahu hal apa aja sih yang mesti kalian prioritaskan terlebih dahulu. Itu pun juga berarti kalian harus mengetahui dari study guide tersebut apa aja nanti yang mesti harus di-riset lebih lanjut agar kalian lebih bisa memahami topik tersebut dan lebih bisa mencari tahu kira-kira solusi mana lagi yang tepat untuk menyelesaikan permasalahan tersebut. And therefore, the study guide has this kind of purposes to guide you to see or even to identify what are the other problems, what are the loopholes that you need to scrutinize, that you need to analyze, so that you could provide a proper solution later on within the debate that is very suitable, very feasible, and also very implementable to actually resolve the issues later. And once again, that is the purpose of the study guide, for your guidance, uh, to identify all of the problems and additional problems later on, so that you could conduct a further preparations regarding your research solution and other things that might be necessary for MUN. We will talk about position paper and draft resolutions later on, because we will be having this kind of meeting later. Now, in debating competition, we will be having adjudicator as our judges. But in MUN, we will call them as a chair. So a chair would be having a task and also have these kinds of responsibilities to moderate and even to lead the council during the committee sessions. The chair also have the responsibilities to prepare all of the substantial thing and a certain technical thing for the MUN, and also for the betterment of the conductions of the MUN itself. Jadi chair ini memiliki tanggung jawab yang sangat banyak sekali, di mana mereka harus mengakses, atau they need to assess, mereka harus menilai each and every of the delegates, so that the chair and also the council could know which delegate that could be the best delegate, as for instance. Jadi kita bisa melihat dari chair itu akan mempunyai semacam kriteria personal atau assessment method, di mana chair akan melihat dari berbagai variabel. They will see from many variables, so that they could once again determine, agar mereka bisa menentukan mana kira-kira yang bisa menjadi pemenangnya atau jadi best delegates. Di sini juga ada placard. There is a placard over here, but seeing that most of the MUN in Indonesia or in Asia's region, most of the MUN are being conducted online. Jadi kebanyakan MUN kan sudah berubah ke online nih. Instead of using placard, we will be using the raise your hand feature in Zoom biasanya. Karena kita nggak pakai placard di online MUN kebanyakan, makanya kita mengganti placard itu sebagai tanda pengenal kita as our ID. We will be replacing placard as our ID to be replaced by dan digantikan dengan fitur angkat tangan di Zoom, kayak gitu. And the last definition would be in regards of delegate, which I have already explained beforehand, which is you as a diplomat of a country. We'll be focusing on the roll call. Roll call, just like in your high school and also in your college, before the lecturer or even before the teacher starts their teaching, they will be conducting a roll call, so that they could know how many delegates, how many person that are attending those classes. So the same with MUN, the roll call have these purposes to determine how many delegates that we have in the council. Because with these kinds of thing, we will be able to determine how much is the simple majority and the quorum of the council, so that once again we could know how many delegates that are being needed to pass a motion, as just for an example. Jadi maksudnya roll call itu ya proses pengambilan pengambilan presensi gitu loh, untuk mengetahui jumlah total delegates. Dan ketika kita ngomongin jumlah total delegates, itu berarti dari total delegates ini kita akhirnya dapat mengetahui kira-kira simple majority itu berapa, dan kira-kira kuota yang dibutuhkan itu berapa untuk meloloskan suatu mosi gitu loh. Maka dari itu ya total delegates harus kita lihat. Sebagai contoh, misalkan kayak yang aku contohkan di pertemuan sebelumnya, di mana misalkan ada 10 orang. Berarti untuk meloloskan suatu mosi, itu ada 6 orang yang harus setuju dengan mosi tersebut gitu, minimal. And as I have already explained beforehand, when we're talking about the roll call, for instance, when we have the total delegates of 10 delegates, that means the simple majority would be 6 delegates that should be in favor to pass a motion. Remember, we will be using some kind of a more democratic system or processes, so that using a vote system is a necessary one to determine once again a certain motion would be passed or not, or even like a draft resolution could be adopted or not. Jadi karena kita menggunakan sistem yang rada demokratis, maka oleh karena itu ya sistem voting ini ada gitu loh, agar mengetahui secara lebih adil apakah suatu mosi tersebut pas atau lolos, atau suatu draft resolution itu dapat diadopsi atau tidaknya. Now, there are two options on doing the roll call. You could state that whether you are present or present and voting. What are the meaning of these two terms? Now, presence, as you can see in the definition, presence, if you are only present, then you may abstain. You may abstain during substantial voting. What is substantial voting? Substantial voting is draft resolution voting. Jadi kalau kalian present doang, kalian boleh abstain ketika ada draft resolution voting atau final documents voting or the final documents voting. That's why you could only like present and then try and then choose not to choose over any kinds of sides. Jadi kalian memilih untuk tidak memilih dari dua sisi tersebut. What do I mean by two sides? Apa yang aku maksud dari dua sisi adalah sisi yang setuju dengan draft resolution tersebut atau sisi yang tidak setuju. What do I mean by two sides is that the one who are in favor with the draft resolution and the one who are against with that draft resolution. And that would be the very basic differences between present and voting. When you are present and voting, that means you need to choose between yes or no only. And that's why that's why the differences lies whether or not you can be abstain during the substantial voting when you choose to be present only. Jadi gitu ya. Kalau present only atau present doang, kalian boleh abstain. Bedanya itu doang secara simple. Tapi kalau present and voting, kalian harus milih antara yes atau no. Now we'll be moving on first. Now remember, if we're talking about substantial voting, then only those who are present that may be abstain. Sama yang seperti aku bilang sebelumnya, ketika misalkan kalian itu cuman memilih present aja, final documents berarti kalian boleh abstain. Beda dengan yang present and voting tadi, gitu. Itu substantial voting ya, pengertian substantial voting. Now we'll go on with the procedural voting. Procedural voting itu berarti motion voting. Procedural voting is the same with motion voting. Both present and voting may not be abstain during motion voting. Jadi terlepas dari kalian present doang atau present and voting, kalian tidak boleh abstain ketika ketika voting soal mosi. Oleh karena itu, perlu diperhatikan lagi, please be active during the voting procedure. Tolong aktiflah ketika ada proses pengambilan voting gitu loh. Karena akan tidak adil, misalkan ya kayak salah satu contoh, ada 10 delegates, terus ada 5 delegates setuju, ada 4 delegates tidak setuju. Satu orang ini missing, satu orang ini hilang. Ketika satu orang ini tidak menentukan vote-nya, ya berarti mosi tersebut tidak lolos, tapi juga tidak lolos gitu. Maka oleh karena itu, satu suara yang hilang ini tadi itu menjadi penentu akan suatu mosi itu lolos atau tidaknya gitu loh. And that's why with the examples of, let's say, 10 delegates, there are 5 delegates in favor and 4 delegates against, and 1 person is missing. This 1 person will determine whether or not this motion pass. And please, once again, do not be abstain. Jangan abstain ketika motion voting. Do not be abstain during motions voting. Now, as you can see in this particular slide. Now, this would be the procedure on how you do the roll call. You need to mention your country's name and state whether you are present or present and voting. Let's just assume I am the chair. Thank you, delegates. Now, before we are going to the formal session, we will conduct the roll call, and please state whether you are present or present and voting. To the delegate of HUSPI, yes, chair, delegate of HUSPI is present and voting. That's how you do it when you are becoming a delegate gitu. Jadi kalau ketika nama kalian dipanggil, tolong bilang thank you chair, misalkan thank you chair, delegate of HUSPI is present and voting, seperti itu. Now we'll go back with this slide. Jadi simple, roll call is the procedure when the chair is taking the attendance. Roll call simpelnya adalah proses pengambilan presensi, sebagaimana kalian di sekolah, untuk mengetahui jumlah total delegatesnya, seperti itu. Now we'll be moving on with the next slide. We will be talking about general speakers list. Focus on its name. General speakers list. It should be speakers, not speaker. It is a list containing a speaker, which will be all of you as a delegate, that could talk about general things related to the issue. Jadi itu adalah suatu list yang isinya pembicara-pembicara yang akan membicarakan hal-hal umum berkaitan dengan topik yang sudah ditentukan. That will talks about the topic that has already been announced beforehand. I would say that the general speakers list could be considered as the introduction session of you as a delegate. Jadi kalau di JASL ini ya sama ketika kalian memperkenalkan diri, kalian harus memperkenalkan kalian itu kira-kira posisinya gimana sih. Kalian udah mengidentifikasi permasalahan apa aja sih, dan kemudian solusi apa aja yang sudah kalian propose. That's why kalau kita ngomong JSL, first impression kita sebagai delegate itu juga perlu kita perhatikan gitu loh. Samalah kayak ketika kita kenalan dengan orang lain. It is the same when we are introducing ourselves with the other people. First impression could done a lot of things with you and the audience. And that's why when we are talking about general speakers list, please try to quote and quote, atau dalam tanda kutip, try to introduce your country. What is your intention as a country in this council? Please also state what is your goals in the council, and on how you could identify the problems and also propose what kind of solution that will going to be needed to resolve the issue. Um, when we're talking about JSL, you need to make this kinds of impact so that the other delegates could acknowledge your presence. Kalian harus memberikan dampak yang lumayan wow, aku bilangnya, untuk agar delegates lain itu bisa bisa mengakui keberadaan kalian. Misalkan delegatesnya bakal bilang, oh ternyata delegates A tadi ngomongin solusi ini, solusinya rada-rada sama nih kayak aku, dan we could work together gitu loh, kita bisa kerja sama gitu. Let's just say that when you have this kinds of a good impact towards the other delegates, then perhaps the other delegates would be thinking like this. Oh, the delegate A is very good. The solution is similar to mine. I think that me and delegate A could work together, and so forth and so on. Kayak gitu. And seeing that GSL only contains 90 seconds of speaking time, then you need to bear in mind with your time management. I'll be talking about time management after this. When you only have 90 seconds of speaking time, please focus on these kinds of structure. Wait a minute. Please focus on the structure. The problem identification, the counter stances, and also the innovative solution that you are going to propose. It is the same with academic paper. You need to be as structured as possible. Ketika kalian berbicara, tolong anggapkan juga itu semacam academic paper. Tolong jadilah delegates yang terstruktur gitu loh. Dimana ketika kalian bisa menjelaskan sesuatu secara terstruktur, itu di pikiran delegates lain dan chairs itu juga kayak enak dengarnya. Mereka juga bakalan paham apa aja sih korelasi antara satu permasalahan ini dengan apa yang kalian propose. Both of the delegates and also the chairs could have the understanding and the comprehension what are the correlations between your identification of the problem and your proposed solutions. With this kinds of train of thoughts and also with this kinds of structure, it could give you a good impact towards especially towards the chair. They will mark you as a good delegate begitu, because of your because of your speech structure or even your solutions gitu loh. And seeing that sometimes in MUN we will be using only like 90 seconds and 60 seconds, you could try to refer from this time divisions. Kalian bisa merujuk kepada kalian bisa merujuk kepada pembagian waktu yang ada di sini gitu loh. But it is subject to you for you to change the time division, as long as that you need to know that when you are presenting or even like try to explaining something, please just make sure that all of the delegates or all of the chairs could understand the gist of it. Jadi ketika kalian menjelaskan sesuatu atau mempresentasikan sesuatu, minimal seenggaknya at the very minimum, at the very least, chair atau delegates itu bisa memahami apa sih inti yang kalian bicarakan, what is the gist of the topic or of the identification that you have or explain in your speech gitu. And before you're going to make your speech, then you could focus on all of this data. The first one, country profile. We are not talking about geographical data in a very specific way. Just please try to find at the very least whether or not that you are an authoritative countries. Jadi kalian mesti ngeliat dulu apakah misalkan kalian itu adalah negara yang otoriter. Untuk mengetahui bagaimana alur pemerintahan kalian, to know how is the flow of your how is the flow of your country going gitu. So that you could also know how the government devise a foreign policies in the international community for the international community. Jadi juga kalian bisa mengetahui kira-kira biasanya mereka membuat kebijakan luar negeri itu dalam perumusan kebijakan luar negeri itu bagaimana, kecenderungan mereka itu dalam menghadapi suatu isu tertentu itu gimana, the tendencies of them to face a certain issues is would be distinctive from the other countries, and that's why understanding the understandings of your country's profile would be very beneficial for you as a delegates to understand your country's stances, untuk dapat lebih memahami lagi kira-kira kepentingan negara kalian itu seperti apa. When you have already done with your country's profile, then you could move on with the topic background and status quo. Please do not be redundant on researching about the topic background. What do I mean by that? Let's just assume that the topic is the impact of COVID-19 to education. You don't need to research about the origin of the COVID-19 anymore. You could just focus on on a more prominent things related to education and the impact of COVID-19. For instance, as I have already written over here, you could focus on the infrastructure of the educations. Perhaps during the COVID-19, a lot of budgets of a certain countries had already been moved by the governments to another sector. So as for this matter, it could be moved into the health sector, and that's why educational infrastructure is not really that good during the pandemic. Jadi kalian bisa fokus ke hal-hal utama aja, misalkan kayak terkait infrastruktur pendidikan yang aku bilang di sini. Kalian harus mengetahui kira-kira misalkan di masa pandemi ini apakah banyak terjadi gitu perpindahan prioritas dari national budget suatu negara, dari misalkan kayak dari pendidikan national budgetnya 1M gitu, tapi karena pandemi cuma 500 juta aja untuk pendidikan, 500 juta lainnya untuk health sector gitu. Kalian harus mengetahui hal-hal yang seperti itu untuk lebih memahami situasi dan kondisi sekarang. So with a good understanding of the current status quo, then you could know what are the real problems that all of the international community are facing right now. After that, you could try to find the past international actions. Identifying the past international actions would be very beneficial for you to devise the solutions, to propose a solution. So when you are making a solution, please do not make all of the solution redundant with the past international actions, because otherwise the solution would not be effective and would be overlapping with each other. Ketika kalian udah mengetahui nih past international actions-nya apa, ya berarti kalian harus mengetahui juga dong, kalian ketika bikin solusi tidak boleh redundant atau mengulang-ulang dengan international action sebelumnya. Yang berarti ketika kita ngomongin pembuatan solusi, kalau ternyata solusi kalian sama dan tumpang tindih dengan solusi sebelumnya, ya nggak bakalan efektif dong jadinya. It would not be as effective as you think, because the international action already has the same mechanism with your solution. So what you need to do is that find another innovative solution, or second, find a solution that could fill the loopholes of the past international action. Jadi ya caranya untuk mengatasi hal ini adalah satu, bikinlah solusi yang inovatif yang beda dengan international action sebelumnya, atau kedua, carilah solusi atau bikinlah solusi yang kemudian dapat menutup loopholes dari past international action tersebut gitu. Uh, and the points number 4 and number 5 and number 6 would be just a reference. You could find all of your solutions, mechanism, or actions through this reference. Jadi kalian bisa melihat dari referensi-referensi ini kayak UN Related Factbook, Programs of Action, International Treaty, and International Law untuk dapat lebih menginspirasi kalian dalam pembuatan solusi. So that all of these references, hopefully, it could inspire you to make a good solution. And please do not forget about the 5W and 1H format. What are you going to do? When is this program are going to be conducted? And also why the international community should be complying to the solutions. How are you going to fund it? How are you going to build this kinds of infrastructure? Yada yada yada. That means when you have already answered the very basics, what, when, why, who, and also how, I could assure you that you already have a very good solutions then. Jadi ketika kalian udah memahami 5W1H itu tadi yang aku jelaskan, berarti sudah bisa diyakinkan seenggaknya solusi kalian itu udah bisa dianggap bagus gitu loh. Gitu. I think that would be there's another slide. And to conclude, in the GSL, with all of the aforementioned things that I have already explained, what you need to do, basically, please tell your counterstances briefly, very briefly, because you have a very limited amount of time. When you are speaking in the GSL, do not be repetitive towards another delegate. It is the same when you are acknowledging the past international actions and proposing a solution. You need to make a solution that is not redundant with the past international action. So that's when you are speaking about the problems. When the other delegates already explains the very same thing, the very same history with the other delegates, then you don't need to explain it again. It would be too redundant. What you could do is that try to compile and try to find a conclusions. What are the things then that needs to be identified first? What are the most suitable solutions that could answer all of those concerns that have been mentioned by the other delegates? That's what you need to do. It also includes then to tell the background of the issues very briefly. Do not try to tell the background of the issues like in a really historical perspective, in a certain context. For instance, as I have already said, the topic is regarding the impact of COVID-19 towards education. Then what you need to do is just focus on the education and the effect of COVID-19. You don't need to understand the origin of COVID-19 unless the topic is historical related kind of thingy. Kecuali kalau misalkan topiknya memang sangat berkaitan dengan sejarah, then you could just scrutinize and try to review all of the historical events of that particular issue. Jadi kalau misalkan memang sangat berkaitan erat dengan sejarah, ya berarti boleh-boleh aja kalau misalkan kalian ingin lebih menganalisis dan lebih pengen mengidentifikasi lagi seluruh kejadian-kejadian bersejarah tersebut yang akhirnya berkaitan dengan topik yang kalian bicarakan. Do not speak too long and also try to tell your solutions very briefly. Why then it is not very recommendable to speak too specific? because there might be a chance where the other delegates could steal your ideas. And also, when you are talking about, when you don't speak too specific, then you could divide all of these research materials into another sessions. Jadi kalian bisa, jadi ketika kalian tidak berbicara terlalu spesifik, hal-hal yang spesifik ini tadi itu bisa kalian jelaskan lagi aja di sesi lain. All of this specific thingy, you could explain it in the another session or in the another opportunities. What are the benefits of that? The benefits of it is that you will not run out of idea in every sessions. You will always have these kinds of research material. You will always have these kinds of idea that you need to elaborate in your speech, and that's why it is part of the strategy to be as active as possible. Jadi itu juga menjadi salah satu strategi di mana kalian bisa menjadi aktif dengan cara membagi-bagi research material kalian, dan kalian tahu, oh, parts ini harus general, parts ini mungkin harus lebih spesifik, dan with all of these things you could know in which session that you guys could be that you guys could deliver a general things, and which session that you think is more suitable to talk about a very specific kind of things, especially regarding your mechanisms. That would be the end of the not actually the very first sessions, but that would be the end of this particular recording. I hope that you could use this recording as part of your learning reference, especially in regards of MUN. I do really apologize if I speak too fast. Once again, I already told you, if I speak too fast, or even like there is a certain words or phrases that you do not understand, please to ask to me towards the WhatsApp group, or even towards me personally through chat. I would be very happy and gladly to answer all of those questions and to respond with all of those concerns. That would be all. Thank you so much, guys, and stay safe, stay healthy.